I will only tell the truth. I will only tell the truth.
What's up, y'all? That's right. It's Friday. It's Fire. It's Fire Friday again. We coming at you with another fire video. And today, I'm going to be interviewing my good brother in Christ, Ed Anderson. And we interviewed him about a year ago. And now we just want to do a follow-up to see what life has been like. We lived 13 years together in a maximum security prison. And I just celebrated 11 years being out. And he's been out about a year and a half. And he did 27 years. 27 calendars, right?
Yeah.
Calendars. We want every bit of that because it was real. So what's life like been for you since you've been out?
I'd say it's ups and downs. I mean, for me, being able to celebrate the holidays with my family, Mother's Day with my mom, you know, she supported me the whole time while I was incarcerated. I had my first birthday, you know, being able to experience things like going to the river, going to the lake, fishing. Really enjoyed a lot of those things. But I mean, there's been bad things too, you know, things I've struggled with, you know, especially considering COVID lately. You know, I've been really pressing trying to get an electrical union. And I've been doing that. Last October, I went down and filed out my application for it. But, you know, still waiting to hear back from them. Hopefully soon, you know, I will, you know, and, on a job situation. And then, you know, in prison, you know, I had big dreams. I was going to get out, you know, meet somebody, you know, potentially get married, you know, have a family someday. And that still hasn't come to pass. You know, I found a girl I liked, and she wasn't really interested at the time, you know, and I kind of struggled a little bit with that because I felt like, you know, here God showed me this perfect girl, you know, meets all the criteria I look for in a woman: godly, virtuous, smart, intelligent, you know, and here, you know, she wasn't interested, and I kind of felt like God had let me down, you know, and I even questioned him, you know, why even show me this girl if, you know, you wasn't going to allow me to have her. And, you know, he just basically just said to me at this moment in time, the only thing I want you to do is just serve me, live for me, and wow. You know, and that's it, you know, just live for him, and later on down the road, she might change her mind, he might change my mind, and there might be someone else, you know. So that was kind of a little discouraging, and it kind of happened around the holidays, so it was a little discouraging for me. And then, you know, 2020 shows up, and now you got COVID dealing with that, and it kind of was a setback on everything. Really, the job situation, you know, in order to get an electrical union, you got to take classes. You know, well, all that's shut down. So it kind of set everything back, you know, 3 or 4 months, you know. I've been battling. I filed my income tax back in February and still haven't got my income tax check back yet.
Really?
Here it is, you know.
Like August 17th,
yeah,
18th.
Yeah, we're getting ready to go into September and still haven't got it back. And you can't really get a hold of nobody from the office because everything's automated. So it's been kind of a little frustrating, ups and downs. I wrecked my car back in March, totaled it out. So went through a transition period where I didn't have a vehicle. Thankfully, my brother, you know, let me use his car, you know, to get back and forth to church and things like that. And then for a while, church was shut down, so I really didn't need a vehicle. And, you know, I've been working with my sister's boyfriend, which, you know, I live with them, so was able to get a ride to work with him. But then the Lord blessed me, you know, I got a new car now. Not brand new, but it's a car that runs, and it gets me where I need to go.
Amen. So,
you know, he's really, really blessed me in areas, you know, here and there, you know. And sometimes we just take things for granted. You know I do. I act like a big baby sometimes and be like, why, God, why? You know, but he's provided for me so many things, you know, so I just try to be thankful and thankful for the things I have, you know, and look forward to the blessings he's blessed me with. Yeah.
Hey, man, so you said a lot, but one of the things that really stood out to me was when you were in prison, you had these, like, grandiose ideas of kind of like a checklist. Like, I got these 10 things that I want to accomplish or have. And some things have come to fruition. Right. You know, like maybe a car. Right. You know, getting a job, like that's kind of come and gone a few times. But there's some things that's kind of like you got grasping for, and it's kind of like trying to catch air. Right. You know what I mean? You really can't catch it. What would you say to a person that's in prison that has this list of things that you want to accomplish when you get out, but knowing your experience is that it's not that easy and it doesn't happen that way? Right.
I think, you know, in prison a lot of times we think if I can just get out of prison, life is going to be hunky-dory, so to speak. But, you know, there's problems out here and challenges out here. I battled little bouts of depression out here just like I did in prison, you know. And there's days when, you know, you just don't want to get out of bed, but, you know, you got to wake up and pray and ask the Lord to give you the strength to make it through the day. Yeah. We had those days in prison. You're going to have them out here.
Now, in retrospect, you know, meaning like in prison, you had these ideas of things you wanted to do, but now you've seen that that's not realistic at times. Or is it possible that maybe some of those things on a proverbial list would be unrealistic?
In my situation, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think I've set the bar so high that it's unattainable.
Okay. All right.
You know, I think, you know, it's in with grasp. You know, a job, decent job, making a good living with benefits and stuff like that would be great. You know, that's all I'm looking for. Maybe, you know, be married someday, maybe have a family. But the family thing, you know, for me is kind of sketchy right now because, you know, it's always in my back of my mind since I'm still on parole, you know, have kids. Well, what happens if they come lock me back up?
Yeah.
Then my wife's stuck, you know, providing for the kids and that. So I've been really hoping, you know, the Lord bless me, and still hoping that the courts will change their mind and we can get resentenced and I can get off parole sooner.
Yeah. You know, you said something that was phenomenal. And it's simple, but yet profound. You said you didn't set the bar too high. Now, with your 27 years of being in prison, I'm sure you encountered situations like I did where you sit around with guys and you talk about one day if I get out. You know what I mean? And those conversations are fun because you kind of dream about what it would look like being on the streets, right? Do you think that a lot of people set the bar too high inside?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, they think they're going to get out and do all these things. They got schemes on how to make money. They've studied books. And so they think, you know, they're going to start their own business. And it's, you know, I've been around people who have businesses. It's not easy, especially starting. You know, if you're getting out of prison, it's tough enough, you know, just to get started and work in a normal job. But to start a business and then want to accomplish that, it takes 2 or 3 years for a business to really get up and running. So
yeah, and you have to, like, unless you have a lot of capital up front to start your business, you got to wear every hat. You know, you got to be the salesman, you got to be the manager, you have to be, if it's a restaurant, you got to be the cook. If it's a service or a product you provide, you got to be involved in all of these things. It's not just like, oh, I got a little bit of money, I'm gonna buy something, and then all of a sudden I'm gonna get rich.
Nothing happens overnight.
Nothing happens overnight. That's right. That's good. That's good. What would you say to someone in prison that may watch this about the dreams, about things they want to do when they get out? What advice would you give someone? Look in the camera.
I would say
and tell them what kind of advice.
I would say it's good to set dreams. It's good to set goals, but make sure they're realistic. You know, and don't set the expectations too high, because in reality you might fail. You might have a day where, you know, you think you're going to do something and then you have a setback, like COVID. Nobody expected COVID to happen. So, I mean, it's good to dream. It's good to set those goals, those expectations. It's good to, you know, want to do the right things, but, you know, there's a reality check sometimes. Those things don't necessarily happen. Yeah,
I know for me, of course, I would have desired when I got out to have a job making 6 figures and the family and children and nice car, nice house and traveling. Would like those things, but my mindset was, I'm going to get 2 jobs. I'm going to have a job at McDonald's in the daytime and a job at Burger King at night. That was kind of like the running joke for me. I would tell people, but I really wasn't joking, because I knew, I mean, think about this. You got felonies, right? Yeah. And then you may have like murder, attempted murder, first-degree robbery, like serious felonies that a company's going to hire you, right? With no job experience. You might have a high school diploma or a GED, and that's it. So no, like all the books you read in prison, all the jobs you did in prison, that stuff don't mean nothing out here.
On a job training, you know, you can read about something all day long, but till you actually get your hands on it and do it, it's totally different.
And even if you worked the job in prison and was good at something, you know, like I talked to a guy yesterday that we both know, Jason, who got out and he worked like on a CNC machine in a wood factory and knows how to work the computer and all of that. They won't even think about hiring him because he got a felony. They look at his resume and say, hey, you have all the skills and knowledge that we really do need. You have, but you got this felony, so we can't hire you. So, you know, a lot of people have these dreams, hopes, and expectations of jumping into something, making tons of money, when in my opinion, they need to humble themselves and just say, hey, look, Lord, whatever you send my way, I'm willing to take it.
There's no problem working at McDonald's. You know, you're earning a paycheck.
That's right.
You know,
staying out of trouble. You're doing it the good old fashioned way.
I work for 3 or 4 different people. You know, if I get it, somebody's got work to do, I'm there. You know, even if it's on a weekend, I try not to work on Sunday, and pretty much I never have. There's a few people, if they needed me seriously on a Sunday, I might help them out, but generally my motto is I prefer to be at church on Sunday mornings.
Now you mentioned something too about the fear, maybe a little fear of starting a family, because this sentence that you still have is pretty lengthy, right?
Right.
And you're afraid that if you do start a family, that if they change their mind about something that they did in your favor and they want to take it back, then now you're going to find yourself in prison and you got a wife and kids.
Right.
And you can't even be home to provide for your family and raise your kids and be a husband.
Right.
What can you explain a little bit of like that for the viewers? Like, what does that actually mean? Like, you're on parole, but like they can take that back, or?
Well, technically I have life without parole, but by the grace of God, they changed it to where you couldn't sentence a juvenile to life without parole. So they made my sentence parolable. I made parole. I'm currently on parole. At any moment, if I don't abide by their rules or do something that they feel worthy of sending me back to prison, then I could go back to prison, and technically I have life without parole. They don't ever have to let me out again. I mean, they could keep me. Generally they don't, but they don't have to ever let me back
So
out.
what needs to happen for that not to be your situation?
Well, I just need to get off of parole, and generally what happens sometimes after 5 years you can apply, and generally if you're doing the right things, they see you're staying out of trouble, they'll let you off of parole. I also have we also have a case before the Missouri Supreme Court. They're going to argue in September on juvenile life without, which could possibly allow me to get resentenced. So if that was the case, most likely the fact that I've been out and I've stayed out of trouble, that I could possibly get time served and get out.
So getting resentenced means they will take the life without parole away and give you like a regular life, or 50 years or 30 years?
Well, ideally, you know, a regular life is the same situation as life without parole, really, because, you know, they could sentence me back and never let me out. So ideally for me, snatching, you know, time served would be the best option. Which
basically means like they'll say, okay, 27 years is your sentence. You served every day at 27 years, so there's nothing hanging over your head.
Yeah, well, technically the year and a half I've been on parole counts towards that sentence as well. So, so I could, you know, use that too to my advantage.
And so, is there anything that any like lawyer or any organization can like help you with to make that happen?
Well, there are organizations out there working on it, and they're fighting to push for it.
So like if an attorney or somebody that is an executive director of like Actual Innocence organization or whatever, if there was somebody that watched this and they felt compelled to say, hey, I want to help Eddie out, man, because he seems like a good guy, is there something they can do, or not really? It's just
I think until the Missouri Supreme Court makes a ruling on the case we've currently got before them for resentencing, I think, or the United States Supreme Court could, until, you know, somebody in legislation or something changes something. I don't know at this point that I'm aware of. I mean, I'm not real familiar with the law, but I don't know. I mean, it's possible that, you know, they could get something done for me. But.
So you went to prison when you were 16?
I just turned 17.
Just turned 17. And you got out at?
I was 44 when I got out.
44, so 17 to 44 years old. That's a big gap of time that you missed in your life. If you can think about it, if you're willing to share, like what's been some of the struggles that you've had being out, you know, just this year and a half versus all those years you spent in? Like, for instance, I'll give you an example. Like, and I know this will be true of you. You may not feel the same way, but this applies to you. I grew up with you.
Right.
We grew up together.
Right.
I mean, you just turned 17. I just turned 20. You know what I mean? And we're only 2 years apart. And you were there like maybe a year. But I got the Potosi in '94. You got there when?
93.
93. So you got there maybe a year, whatever, before me. And then for the next 13 years, we pretty much we for the most part interacted at least probably 5 days a week.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it was just talking, playing pinochle, playing spades, eating a meal together, playing sports together. Like, you know, like when I talk about to people out here and I say, man, I didn't grow up with any brothers or sisters, but I got some brothers because they dudes I grew up with, and I consider you a brother. And it's like there's other people like you inside that I still have a desire to want to like be their brother and love on them.
Yeah.
And like me, because I'm a volunteer in Missouri, I can't interact with them like through the phone calls and through letters. And you being on parole, that's something that I'm pretty sure like you're not supposed to either. That kind of weighs on me, man. It's kind of like you can't have no interaction with your family, man. So does that like you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a struggle. I mean, there's a lot of Christian brothers in there who I'm real close with, and like brothers. And I hope someday, you know, they have a chance to get out too. Some of them don't have that opportunity that I had. So, and it'd be nice to be able to see them again out here in the fellowship and be able to go out and have a meal with them, or, you know, get together as a family thing. So yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that, you know, I really look forward to.
And what about any other like struggles? Like, I mean, loneliness. I mean, you were a guy that worked. You always kept a job. I mean, I did too. So you build a structure for your life inside, like a schedule. So you kind of like, that's how you jail, right? Like you got a rhythm every day, every week, every month of what you do. A routine. That's what I'm looking for. Like, have you struggled with finding a routine out here or not really?
Well, I think out here the pace is so much faster. You know, you got things doing like, you know, I'll work all day, and then, you know, if I go do something at night with somebody, my day's pretty much over with. You know, and that's one of the harder things. You know, I think to some point I have a routine. You know, I get up in the morning, you know, I pray and spend a little time in the Word, and then, you know, you get ready for work, you go off to work, you come home from work, you might, you know, eat a little something, you know, eat dinner, you know, exercise or something, and, you know, spend a little time reading, generally. I mean, and there's a lot of things that I would like to do more of, but as far as studying, educating myself, learning to play the guitar and that, but it just seems like there's just not enough time in the day.
Yeah, well, you know, like, definitely, like, we should be working a job, right? And if you worked, call it, you know, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, like probably most people do, then the rest of the time is kind of yours, right? I mean, you're not married, you don't have kids.
Right.
So you actually have a lot of time available. It's just that we fill our time up, you know, with things we want to do. Right. And if we say, I don't have time for that, it's not that we don't have time, it's that we're choosing to use that time for something else.
Yeah, well, I think I come down to the Set Free office and volunteer a lot, so that's a 45-minute drive for me, so that kills 45 minutes. And then, you know, if I come down here and volunteer, that's pretty much what I'm doing through the night, and then it's another 45-minute drive home. By the time I get home, it's time to, you know, spend a little devotional time, spend a little time in prayer, brush my teeth, and off to bed.
Yeah, do you miss any of the, like, recreation time? Like we play sports at a very high level a lot.
I think
you miss any of that?
Yeah, oh yeah, I love playing sports. So, and I really don't have that opportunity with a lot of people out here, you know.
Yeah, but do you miss it? You might not miss it.
Yeah, I miss sports. Yeah, playing. You know, and our church had a softball league for a little while, and I played a few games. But,
okay.
But the problem is, I live in O'Fallon, and we play, you know, down south or Eureka, and then it's just a long drive. Then if you work all day, you go play softball, you go home, time you get to bed, it's almost midnight. You got to get up again 4:30 in the morning. You're ready for work again. It's just,
it sounds like you're making some really wise decisions, man, because a lot of guys get out, and for the first couple months, they seem to kind of do well. And then when things don't turn out the way they want, then it starts going downhill fast. So what has prevented, so like you mentioned earlier, everything hasn't gone the way you wanted. Some things have, some things haven't. What has prevented you from kind of just sliding downhill fast?
Well, I think, one, I got a strong family support, you know, my earthly family. And then I got a great church community who loves me and supports me. I mean, several of them, you know, Don and Cindy are good friends of mine. They support me, Jim and Karen Franco, I mean. You know, so all these people from church, you know, they check in on me and see how I'm doing. And they're pushing to help me to be successful, you know, and I have friends in church who also are, you know, pushing to try to get me an electrical union that are retired electricians and that. So I've been blessed with a church family. I mean, that's really embraced me and loved me and, you know, helped me out in any way they can.
Yeah, I hope that people who are watching this and listening really are hearing what Eddie's saying, you know, about the church embracing him. And when he says blessing them, he doesn't necessarily mean they're like just like giving them money and giving them things. They're loving them. They're welcoming him into their family where he's eating dinner with them, going on like you're probably so many families like little brother or son. You know what I mean? And,
yeah.
And that's not like a thing to be like feeling like I'm nobody's son or little brother. It's like a blessing that people that are pretty much strangers at one point, right?
Right.
Just open their heart, open their home and their life to embrace you. And I think that for those of you that may be watching and you may think, hey, all guys that are coming out of prison, most of them are bad or all of them are bad. Not everybody is, but actually you can have the most positive attitude. You can be the most godly person in the world, but you still need support. Yeah. And God will, and I think wants to work through people to try to help people like us make it. And so maybe you're in a situation where you got some time and some resources at your hand, and you know, you can contact me. There'll be contact information at the end of this video. Maybe you want to say, hey, I want to try to help be in somebody's life to embrace them, to help them be successful, because you just heard it from Eddie. You know, that this has been something that's helped him be successful, helped him not be depressed, and actually kind of help you like not go back to prison. Not that you want to commit a crime, but right. You can slip into, you know, alcoholic pattern. You can slip into drugs. I mean, it can happen to the best of them. You know what I mean? Sin can get anybody. Right. So, you know, having that support and accountability really goes a long way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's been amazing, the support for me. And without it, you know, I mean, like I said, I may not have gone back to prison, but, you know, life would have been a lot more.
Yeah, you can stray away from the Lord.
Yeah.
Which would be probably, I would say, worse than going to prison.
Yeah. And I mean, if I wasn't going to church and had a church family, you know, a lot of guys get out of prison, what they do, they've been locked up 27 years away from a woman. First thing they do, they go out and find a woman. I've had friends that have done that, and they've, you know, regretted, have kids, and then they end up in a bad situation. Now you get battling back and forth, child support and all that thing. So I'm thankful that the Lord has blessed me and allowed me to really wait and be patient on Him in that area. You know,
that is a blessing.
And for real, the young lady I was talking about earlier, she might not have been interested, but she don't realize in a lot of ways she helped me, because God showed me this young woman and made me have feelings towards her, as opposed to some worldly woman who might have come along and tried to seduce me, and you know, I might have strayed away.
That's funny, seduce.
So thank God, you know, I mean, that I was able to meet this young lady.
So in our last few minutes here, man, if you would, like, I want to dream with you here, like, in the next 5 years, like, what are some things that you would like to have accomplished, Lord willing?
Well, I definitely would like to have you know, a good paying job with a pension, you know, my own place, house, you know, potentially married and a wife, kids, you know, all those things, you know. And I'm not, you know, I don't want a big mansion. I just want a simple life, you know, nice house, you know, family, and, you know, where I can support them. That's all. You know. What
does education look like? Is that, are you open to educate? I mean, are you pretty dead set like electrical union and there's nothing else, or it's like, hey, Lord, this is what I would like, but if you have something else, I'm open for that.
I mean, there's other opportunities, like I know Boeing has a program where with the St. Louis Community College, where you can go there and learn metalworking and potentially get a job working for Boeing. I've also been working with Launch Code a little bit, and I was, before COVID started, I was going to take a computer programming class, but when COVID started, I really don't have the, you know, facility at home, you know, like my own office or something to go in there and sit, because everything was on Zoom. I got a computer in that, but just sitting in my room in a fold-up chair doing a computer programming class for 3.5 hours was just a little too much, a little too overwhelming.
Okay.
So I opted out of it, and I mean, there's still an opportunity there for me to, you know, sign up for another class.
So are you interested in taking classes in certain areas?
Yeah, and educating myself, sure.
Okay, so outside of COVID, like, is there anything that's hindering that?
Not at the present moment, I wouldn't think. I mean,
so you got the time.
Well,
you got the money.
I always have the time, but, you know, or the resources, but, you know, but I think I could fit it in my schedule. Definitely, you know, I could take some other things out, but the resources, I don't know. The community college, I think that's paid for through Boeing. Maybe, I'm not sure.
Okay.
So and Launch Code is a free program.
Okay. Well, the reason I ask is because, again, like, I don't have like tens or hundreds of thousands of subscribers and people that view this.
Right.
But I don't need that. And I'm not necessarily looking for that. I'm looking for people who say, hey, we find some sort of value in these videos, whether personally or for other people that they're kind of pointing to these videos. We don't know who might see this video,
right.
You know, and they may say, hey, you know, I hear this guy's heart and the Lord is pricking my heart, you know, not mine, but their heart. And they may be saying, hey, I would love to sponsor this young man to take some classes. Right. You know what I mean? Where they would pay for you. You know, so that's why I'm asking. So, you know, if there are things and opportunities that you kind of are thinking about or have thought about that you like to try, like that's why I'm asking these questions, because, you know, God's people are amazing. And you got God's people in your life, and God's people all over the world, and have different vocations and different resources. And maybe like God does crazy things where, you know, somebody meets you through a video and you never know who they are. And next thing you know, you got a bachelor's degree, or you got a job at Boeing, or you're in the electricians union because somebody saw a video who passed it to somebody who passed it to somebody, and that was the right somebody. You know what I mean? So that's why I wanted to dream with you a little bit, just so our viewers, and even if there's nobody like that, I know I got some dedicated people that watch these videos, and they're always talking about they're praying for me. And I know, brother, that they're going to be praying for you, and they're all over the United States, you know, so at least there's other people that you'll probably never meet that's going to be going to the throne room of God, you know, and petitioning him to help you in these areas, you know. Right. So I love you, brother, man, and I appreciate you. I always love seeing you. You know, the great thing is the brothers that I can't see inside, when I get to see you, it kind of fills those little pieces in my heart that's missing to get a chance to spend time with you. And then we also got to hit the handball around a little bit yesterday. And so maybe we'll put some footage of that on this video. I don't know yet, but that was kind of cool. Yeah, and hopefully next time you come in, we'll get to do a little more handball. Yeah, look, I'm planning on it. I'm going to try to plan that. Start getting a little bit better shape so we can get out there and ain't all beat up and sore. Man, hey, that's a story for another time. So, man, thank you, my brother. Thank I love you, man. I love you too, man. Always good seeing you. So, hey, thank you guys, man. And at the end of this video, I'm going to have some contact information on here for you to contact me. And then, Lord willing, you know, we'll talk or whatever. And if I feel the Lord is saying, yeah, let's make a connection with Eddie and this person. If Eddie's open for that, then I'll connect you all, and I can kind of step out of the way, or I can be involved in it or whatever. But the purpose of this stuff is to meet people that's been out. We're not guys that's around here that we weren't tough guys. We were guys that, you know, did some pretty horrific things in our life in the past. And the Lord Jesus Christ redeemed us from the slave market of sin. And he saved our soul. And by his grace, we walked with him for a number of years. And we've been out now, and we've continued to journey with him. And you don't get a chance to hear a lot of these stories. And so I want to put these stories out there so people can be encouraged, right? And also, like, sometimes we need help, you know, and it's great to put the petitions out there to others, because there's brothers and sisters that do want to help. So I thank you guys very much. If you haven't subscribe. Every Friday we'll have a video. It'll alert you so you can see it. Pass it on to other people if you think it's something cool or something spiritual, or you just like it. You know, so thank you guys so much. Until I talk to you again, that's fire.
I will only tell the truth.